You have information about the missing Qunari?
I am to help you, yes. Viscount Dumas would appreciate discretion in this matter. I would prefer that you were not involved at all. But that is neither here nor there.
Of course you would.
It sounds like you don't want them found.
I must think of what is best for the Viscount's office. Bringing attention to such an incident benefits no one.
You would do nothing?
The Qunari are neutral hostiles at best. There is no relationship to salvage by overextending ourselves on their behalf.
Has anyone reported this to the Qunari?
Maker, no. I'd be signing the messenger's death warrant. He'll find out soon enough, of course. And when he does, the Viscount is rightly concerned that the illusion of peace will dissolve.
The Arishok is growing violent. He might want an excuse to end this peace.
I suspect that if the Arishok wanted to take over, he simply would. For all we fear that heretical Qun of his, its demands have done more to keep him in check than any of our efforts. Besides, would Qunari stoop to trickery? There is no precedent, but there is unfortunate evidence of influence on our side.
I'm having a hard time picturing the abduction of a Qunari entourage.
Unfortunately, they were not at their best. Their swords were tied into their sheaths, as I advised. It seemed a respectful compromise. Even I know you cannot separate a Qunari from his weapon.
I don't need your opinion. Get to what you know.
The delegate and his entourage could not be made to disappear without the knowledge of the city guard. Not coincidentally, a number of recent recruits have failed to report. You should start with one of them. Although where you find a swordsman so eager to sell his honor and duty, I'm sure I don't know.
The Hanged Man.
Hanged Man.
Definitely.
Right. Then you know what to look for. I can't imagine this has occurred without notice. There is always a weak link. Please keep this quiet. The Viscount is under enough scrutiny as it is.
Don't worry, Braun. He won't have to worry about that very soon. What, too soon? I want to bring Aveline for this part. I'm just not sure who I want to remove instead. Either Isabella or Varric. Sorry, Varric.
Well, you're throwing coins around like there's no tomorrow.
That's right, woman. Tonight I'm paid and blessed, and all I had to do was turn my head. To all my friends. Hey, step back. I know important people. We're gonna show this city what to do with heathen oxmen.
Guard Captain, would you like to have a word with your man?
Guard captain?
Who?
What?
Who?
Who what? I don't...
Who bought you? Who bought the honor of a proud guard of Kirkwall and made him a drunken Mabari bitch?
I don't know. He was a Templar, I swear. He had the seal of the Grand Cleric and everything. It's true.
The penalty for abandoning your post is 10 days on the wall. I expect you to report in the morning. There's your answer. A Templar.
With the Grand Cleric's seal, no less. Well done.
Yep. A very... Excuse me. A very familiar looking Templar, by the way, when we get there. So now we're going to swap out Isabella for Sebastian.
The man was a drunk. Surely you don't think Grand Cleric Elthina is funding zealots?
I want answers about the missing Qunari.
Keep an open mind, Hawk. Elthina isn't behind this.
The Grand Cleric, please. Tell her... Just tell her to get out here.
No, another familiar face is the one behind this.
Sarah Hawke.
Sister Patrice.
Mother Patrice. Time has changed us both.
Congratulations.
Grand Cleric Elfina cannot grant an audience to just anyone. What do you want?
Of course not. Once again, using her authority to push forward her agenda.
Funny how you and issues with the Qunari seem to go together.
And you always assume their side. I was naive when last we met. I did not want you dead, but I felt a death was necessary. That may be too fine a point for you to understand, but you must admit, you came out the better for it.
A Qunari delegate has disappeared. She may have ordered it.
That is quite an accusation. Ridiculous, of course. She leads a great many people, but not as a commander.
I must agree, Hawk. Grand Cleric Elthina would never do such a thing.
A Templar used her seal to convince others the act was righteous. A pause that says you knew. But does her grace?
The Grand Cleric trusts her stewards to enact the wishes of the Maker.
Notice how she didn't really deny that. She was basically admitting, oh yeah, it was me, because I'm a mother now, and she entrusts me to do well on her behalf. You can see how Patrice is definitely working things here, and she is willing to go this far, because as she's going to admit later on, you know, however many people die in this whole thing doesn't matter as long as it's all in the name of the Chantry and the Maker. Pushing forward the Chantry's views over the Qunari. That's all that matters. Who cares how many people die, right?
I doubt she would approve, and she will hear of it.
Stubborn. All right, Sarah Hawke. If you won't abandon this, let me offer you something. The Templar you seek is a radical who has grown unreliable. Confronting him may do us all a favor.
And you know this how?
He is my former bodyguard, Ser Von L. Assume what you wish, but I offer him to you as reconciliation.
More like a
Meet me at
scapegoat.
this location. I invite you, Sarah Hawke. Come see the unrest these Qunari have inspired.
She's giving him
Need I
to
say I'm
us
skeptical? It's her game, for the moment.
to keep heat off herself. She wants to sacrifice him to make sure that she gets out of this completely
I have no
free.
memory of my childhood. Denarius had no desire to teach his slaves anything that made them think they're worthy beings.
I'm sorry. I can't imagine how difficult your life has been.
No, you can't.
Whether you were taught it or not, the Maker has room at his side for every soul, even yours.
Easy place to get cornered.
Patrice is here somewhere.
Yeah, my feelings exactly, Aveline. Ugh.
They are absent from the eyes of the Maker.
Ow.
Qunari hold no real power. They are absent from the eyes of the Maker.
There they are. I thought it was going to keep going.
Like any beast, remove the fangs and it is lost. They are weak before the faithful of the Maker. The only certainty in their precious Qun is death before the righteous.
Ser Varnell!
Take a knee, faithful. The Chantry blesses us.
You claim a blessing when you have used the authority of the Grand Cleric so openly? You have brought wrath down upon you. You remember Sirrah Hawk? The Qunari have friends, Templar. How will you answer their allegations?
I like how she does a couple things here. One, she kind of becomes our hype man. Did you notice that? She's like, oh, you've brought wrath upon you. Do you remember Sirrah Hawk? She's like playing us up as if she's like our mouthpiece. Almost like she's like the Paul Heyman, whereas I as Hawk am Brock Lesnar. Does that make sense? For those of you who are familiar with pro wrestling. That's basically what she's doing here. But what she's also doing is she's trying to pin everything that has happened on Varnell to get it off of her, while also trying to portray to the people that Hawk is completely on the side of the Qunari and completely against the Chantry. You can see the manipulation here on Patrice's part.
You want to fight? Face someone whose weapons are not bound.
Righteous. Destroy them.
And then she takes off.
Not doing anything.
And now because of that, they have us fighting these people who are labeled as fanatics, but still, they're just people.
Let's finish this. All right. Time to bring this mess to the Viscount's attention.
Yep.
Madness! Madness!
It certainly is.
Chantry involvement. Even if they are fringe elements. Oh, it could not be worse.
Her Grace had no knowledge of this affair. I trust she will deal with it swiftly.
You killed them? All of them?
A mother serving the Grand Cleric allowed this to happen.
Are you quite sure? She held a blade with them? Told them to fight you?
No, I cannot say that.
Of course not. Blasted mother. You have no idea the storm these allegations would cause. It would destroy what support I do have.
This is, I've said it before, this is a city leader with basically no actual power and authority. He's just a puppet here who's just like, oh gosh, what do I do? He has no sense of taking charge and actually doing something. He's in a position of power, but he doesn't really have power or doesn't even utilize it.
I have had trouble with her before. She is slippery.
I understand. I will make my inquiries. Gently. And you should be careful in your associations. For now, we have other problems. We have the delegate, but I can't return the bodies to the Qunari in this state. Sirrah Hawk, you know the Arishok. What should I do?
Hiding this would only make it worse.
It would, wouldn't it? I'm losing my sense of how to balance this nightmare. I appreciate your help in this matter. As bad as this is, it could have been much worse without you. Kirkwall owes you. I owe you.
So, I believe we have a couple of places we can go to follow up this on. For one thing, we need to go to the docks and see if we can talk to the Arishok about this.
So, human, my delegate was taken from the Viscount's doorstep, and he still claims control of this city. I thought it impossible, but I respect him even less. How do you explain the condition of their bodies?
A fanatic used them to incite others of his kind.
I accept that.
That's it?
I have seen every vice and weakness of your kind, and how few of you take responsibility. Your Viscount remains a fool, but you are not. Panahedan, Hawk. I will keep one good thought about your kind.
That's another point you get for gaining the Arishok's respect.
Go, Hawk. Another time.
The fact that you were upfront about it, and he's like, well, your Viscount is a fool, but you are not. And that's, coming from the Arishok, that's one of the most respectful things that he could possibly say to you. Really. Alright, so I believe we just got a gift for Aveline. Let's go, share that with her. I'm sure she'll be thrilled about that.
Good day, Sir Arthur.
It's different here as captain. Feels like family.
I have something for you.
Do you now? A shield? Oh, and born by the one true Sir Aveline. Lovely. Thank you.
Is this an Orlesian thing? Because it's a bit insulting.
I had a shield. It belonged to Wesley. It was difficult to let it go, but I did so. Utility over sentiment, right? We sold it, didn't we?
What are you going on about?
You're not usually gentle in your criticism. So what exactly was your intent?
How about you give me a reason for this little tiff?
You want me to give up on the last bits of my old life. Maybe I'm not willing to do that.
Better tell Donnick.
We've had that talk. This isn't about Wesley. You've got me doing a lot of things. Some I don't agree with. Some I'm surprised I do. I'm not sure where I'm going as it is. Replacing what I was with this... I mean, who is Sir Aveline to me?
It seems odd you don't feel a kinship. You don't feel the name fits you.
I didn't choose my name. Aveline was a wish my father made. I am similar to what he pictured, but that's because of what I try to be, not what I assume I should. Sir Aveline was a fine figure, but I don't revere failure, however glorious.
You know, not every gift has the significance of finely crafted copper marigolds.
So it's just a shield.
Just a shield?
You have very bad taste. Every Smith & Orlais stamps Sir Aveline's name on their exports. But thank you for the thought.
So she actually gets that shield that she can use. Shield of the Knight herself. Attack, critical chance, 100% of basic attack damage versus enemies that attack in melee is, I guess, reflected back. And it has a rune slot. But as you can see, I have her using that shield, which is much better. She has not had... Oh, Sebastian doesn't even have that either. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to take some time to actually properly equip them, even though I wasn't planning on using them that much, but... Demands of the Qun. Let's see if we can talk to both the Viscount as Braun and Elthina.
A true disaster. There is no...
I'm preparing for the worst. The very worst.
Alright, so now let's go to the Chantry and see what if we can talk to Elthina about this. We will definitely get some follow-up on this, but we have to actually progress the main plot for that to happen. Oh, hey, Patrice. Let's catch up with you for a moment.
Sirrah Hawke, it is good to see you. The shame that Varnell brought his order is most unfortunate.
The shame he brought?
Praise the Maker that you were his champion in that dark place.
No thanks to you, and you know it.
I gave you Varnell.
And a room full of zealots.
He recruited with the promise of Chantry blessing. You weren't going to argue them out of salvation. Varnell stepped too far. But the faithful know that eternity is at stake. Though there are, perhaps, better ways to go about it.
I can't let this go that easy.
Then we are destined to have this argument again. For now, I have made no criminal claims, and even your Viscount considers this matter closed. If he is good at anything, it is doing nothing.
Okay, that I will agree with you on, Patrice.
I hope you live a long life, Sirrah Hawke, because your judgment before the Maker will be harsh.
Sometimes you just know trouble is coming.
Now let's see if we can actually tell Elthina about this.
Is something troubling you?
Did you know someone used the authority of your name to instigate a crime against the Qunari?
The path to righteousness is never as straight and narrow as we wish. I truly hoped this would not go so far. But do not trouble yourself. I will step in when it's time.
Are you intending to stay neutral about the Qunari and mages forever?
The Maker's time is not men's time. We do not need to rush. The Chantry is not a domineering father with the whip always in hand. She is...
Yep, same thing as before. Same tune. I think what Patrice said about the Viscount doing nothing also can apply to Elthina.
I'm allowed to hear confessions.
Why would you tell me this?
I know Daenerys made you do things. I thought you might be more comfortable talking to a friend. You should know. A murder committed under duress is a sin on the one who ordered it, not the one whose hands carried out the deed.
Have I not spoken enough of my past? Does everyone in Kirkwall wish to hear every sordid detail?
Sometimes it's painful to speak, but it's the only way the wound can be lanced.
Okay, so I'm going to cut it off here. I'm going to take a moment to head to my house, go to the stash, and grab some pieces for Aveline and Sebastian here, because the fact that they're not fully geared kind of bothers me. I like having all my companions fully geared. What do you want from me? And I guess when we return, we will be continuing the other part of the plot, which is talking to Emmerich about this suspect and about those deaths from years ago. You guys know where this is going. Stay tuned.